Man Talk. Leroy Marc on Trans Africa Radio.
The big man himself, WHP, with Swara on Trans Africa Radio, taking us to 20 minutes before the hour of 7 p.m. Central African time. This hashtag Man Talk, hashtag Man Talk Saturday is joined in the studio by hashtag Man Talk guest. His name is Mphela. Yes. Right? Got it right. Hanging with me all the way to 7:30 Central African time. He should be somewhere else right now. Very, very busy man he is, but he decided to take some time out of his very, very hectic schedule. But you can also see him on SABC 1 in a few minutes. In 7:30, right?
Yeah, 7:30.
On RGB. So Phil, let's talk. Can we talk?
Yeah, let's.
Can we talk?
Yeah.
Can we talk? Because you're my people. So I follow you, and I don't know when I started following you really, but it started popping out of my timeline quite a lot. And you've been both in education and entertainment for me. Okay, there's sometimes I'm like, okay, what's popping over there? I mean, a lot has happened in the week, and I mean, firstly, you are a TV critic, you're an entertainment commentator.
I created opportunities for myself. You know how it is in Johannesburg.
Yeah.
It's so competitive. That's what I always tell. Whenever somebody DMs me or send me an email and say, you know, what can I do? I want to get into the game. I'm like, you know what? There are people in this industry who have actually studied, like who've got masters or whatever, who are not having the same opportunities as people who just walk in. So if you come into the business, you need to be able to create your own work. You need to be attractive as a potential talent, and as well as find your own niche in the market. You know, when I started blogging, I mean, there were so many bloggers. I mean, I think one of your, I don't know if he still works here, Mika.
Yeah,
you had your Mika Stefano, and all of those things. And you know what? They were all doing gossip. You know, it was all about gossip and celebrity culture, whatever. And I was like, what can I do to separate myself from everybody else?
Did you find it overwhelming? I mean, I know, you know, I'm a Joburg boy, so I've been around this forever, but I still find it quite overwhelming that sometimes sort of, you know, walking down the street and, you know, Bonang is over there and, you know, and Minnie is in the coffee shop across the road, wherever you are. Was it a lot to take in to see all these iconic names suddenly in your periphery?
Now, no. But at the beginning, I mean, I remember like the first ever audition that I went to before I even started blogging was for a show on your TV called The Blue Couch.
I remember Blue Couch.
I could not speak English fluently. And I get there and you've got all these kids there, you know, with their little twangs.
Yes.
And whatever. It was very intimidating, you know, and I knew then that to get into the game, I needed to be able, you know, to converse in different languages and all of that. So that was the only intimidating thing. Now I'm good because I know where my lane is. And, you know, for me, I'm much more comfortable with the CEO of the channel or of a brand knowing who I am than I am about a celebrity greeting me.
I mean, 2002 you started this off, so I mean, you've been a proper 15 years in the game.
Yep.
So you know what you're talking about, which is why we need to talk.
Let's talk.
Now, let's have this conversation. Before we get into talking about like some of the particular stories that we need to sort of look at, especially with the busy news week we've had, let's talk about celebrity culture. Is there a celebrity culture in South Africa? Do we have people, because I was saying to you, you know, that I was in the States once upon a time, and people sort of really chase celebrities like seriously, like the paparazzo are a full-time thing.
Yes, not in a scale that Hollywood has or the UK and all of that. You see, I always say that if you are going to judge South African entertainment industry, judge it on its own merit. Yeah. Don't try and compare it with anything else because we are still very small and the way things work here, it's more about aspiration than it is about anything else. You know, if people can look up to you and say, I want to be like that person, than people who just want to dress like you. Do you know what I mean? So a fan base is more about people trying to achieve and get to the level that you are in than it is about, you know, people wanting to look like you.
Yeah. I think, I mean, there is a big disjoint that just happened like recently. You've got these people who and social media wasn't big back then, right? So it wasn't that you could be so close to celebrities anymore. But don't you feel like with the floodgates of social media, we know so much about celebrities and now we hunger even more for them?
Absolutely, but at the same time, I mean, it's working for them as well because remember, social media has removed the journalist from.
So social media has killed the journalist.
But well, yeah, pretty much because now a celebrity can just tell you what they want you to know about their lives.
And there's no more a need for the press conference to be called, the record label.
You understand? So now it works both ways. It's helping the celebrities and it's helping the fans as well. And it's allowed a fan to have a voice.
I like that you can get in. I mean, I was tweeting and bumped into Pink's timeline.
Yes.
And somebody tried to come for Pink, and Pink clapped back real quick.
Exactly.
Kanyin Bao is the queen of clapbacks. She does it in like 6 words and will leave you flat. And it also, sort of, you get to see the people behind the characters.
Yeah.
You no longer have the veil of the glamour.
Yeah,
only.
I'm perfect. I never get upset.
Well, over the few things. I mean, most recently was the numbers that came out for the TV shows, right? So, and for me, it's quite interesting because do people still watch television? I mean, I know I watch because I work in the space.
Yeah.
But I mean, when last did you sit down at 7:30 and you're like write news, and then 8 o'clock you're like generations, 8:30, I don't know what comes after.
Of course, I mean the SABC, for instance, in terms of all the channels together, they have lost viewership. However, you have certain shows that have actually increased in viewership. I mean, like, who would have thought when Generations fired their actors 2 or 3 years ago, they would actually increase their number? Because right now, at the time, they were pulling around 7 million, 6 million.
Yeah.
Right now, Generation is pulling over 8 million viewers.
But is that not just an issue of the accessibility of television? The fact that, it's become cheaper for me to buy a TV. There's more people in the world generally. I mean, I'm not 2 million worth in viewership, but that maybe there's something else in the matrix. Because, I mean, I've viewed Generations. I've watched Generations. And people have said... also, there was a spicy storyline this past month, which might affect the numbers more or less. But is it really not just the growth of numbers?
Look, here's the thing. I've heard that argument so many times. People don't have DSTV. People don't do whatever. That's why they're watching SABC, whatever. There is some merit to that argument. However, when you look at the numbers, like I'm telling you right now, before a channel like Mzansi Magic became a thing.
Yeah. Because it's a thing.
Generations was on 6 million, and it was the highest rated show on SABC 1. Now Mzansi Magic is a thing, and we would think that Mzansi Magic could have stolen the viewership from SABC. But guess what? Generations, Uzalo, Skim Sam have actually gone beyond 6 million. They're sitting on 7, 8.
I mean, Generations, Skim Sam and Uzalo have, sort of eclipsed all the other shows. You would think Uzalo. Also, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Phil. TV is saturated right now. I have an aunt who watches every conceivable soapy, but the this is crazy. You've got like Skim Sam, and then after this you've got like Sometimes 7 Alon and Isidingo, and then you've got, I don't know what to watch. How is it that we can move around and still have these 3 shows, these 3 very, and to be fair, they're not the most elegant, they're not the most sophisticated, they're not the most, they're not spending thousands of hundreds of thousands of rands on elaborate sets. It's all really just families who are doing what families do.
Biggest problem that we make in this country is that we look at your urban youth, and we assume that those are the trendsetters of what's happening in South Africa. They might be the trendsetters in terms of getting things on magazines or whatever, but in terms of buying power, in terms of viewership and stuff like that, they are not. You look at social media, for instance. I mean, the biggest social media platform in South Africa, it's Facebook.
Still Facebook.
Do you understand? But then if you step back and you only listen to people like me in this fancy street, in these restaurants and whatever, you will think that Twitter
and Instagram
has. Do you understand? So majority of South Africans don't really sit on their phones like we do.
Okay.
You understand? So people still come a certain time are at home and watching TV, and they watch TV with the family, and an aunt will be, talking to her sister and whatever about what happened in Generations, and that person ends up watching. So that culture of television watching as a family thing and as a community thing, it's still there. Just that we missed that because we are so caught up in thinking that just because social media is now the new thing and is the new cool thing, that's where trends are. No.
I mean, I started a conversation right here at Transafrica actually, and we were having a discussion about how your cell phone is the first screen for most millennials and sort of pre-millennials. So everything from after the baby boomers. Baby boomers are from after the 70s. So I'm just saying, you don't know where you fall in, 70s. Work yourself out. But I know I just barely make it into the millennials, like barely. But I mean, I find it interesting that people go back to Facebook because, again, Facebook, unlike Twitter, where a tweet goes into the ether and disappears, after an hour, depending on how many people you follow, on Facebook, it remains there. It has a longevity on the timeline as opposed to...
And it's a relationship as well. You feel like you have a genuine relationship with that person. You are much more likely to get engaged with somebody via Facebook than you would on Twitter, because whatever these conversations that you're having with them, it's open to like millions of people, even people who don't even follow you guys are now part of the conversation. So what's happening on Facebook with that thing of a relationship is exactly what's happening in television. It's if you build a brand that can sustain a relationship with the viewer, you set
I have my celebrity crushes, my celebrity icons, people I'm hanging out with that I love. And so when they come up and they put a TV show together, I'm going to be like, yes, that is where I'm going to be found. I'm going to be watching all of that. But seemingly, that's not what's happening, because according to the numbers in your analysis, no. So the intern by David Lale, which is on Wednesdays on SABC3, that's gone to rubbish. Being Bonang, you would think with over 1 million followers on multiple social media platforms, she'd have better numbers. Note that didn't work out. So what is up about these? I mean, if we're all about talking about people who we love, or no loazi on generations, and as far as characters getting slapped on the streets because of what their characters are doing, and these are the actors getting the brunt of their characters' actions. How is it that we're not having the relationship with people who we thought, according to social media at least?
It's just that this thing is getting attention now because of Bonang, but this has always been the case. I mean, I'll give an example for Club 808, for instance. When Club 808 on ETV hired Boiti, okay, the rationale behind that was that Boiti will bring in, a new, younger, she was like one of the it girl. Well, she still is one of the it girls, stuff like that. And guess what? Club 808 tanked. They moved it to I don't know how many time slots and whatever, and it's still, I mean, like, it was ridiculous. When Bonang was on live was never on the top 10 of SABC One shows.
So it has nothing to do with the celebrity on the show.
No, I mean, I generally believe that ARs and TV ratings are influenced by the content. I really believe that because when you look at what's happening at Mzansi Magic right now, who would have thought that somebody like Papa Penny would actually be,
Papa Penny is my spirit animal.
That's the thing.
Is my spirit animal.
Papa Penny has more people watching him than they do Somizi. Do you know what I mean? But he's never been on a cover of Glamour magazine or any of these things.
So to editors of Glamour magazine, please call Mr. Penny and ask him to be on the cover so we can prove Paul wrong. I mean, I like that it goes back to the content, which then makes me ask the question that with the casters coming in and they're saying to us, I mean, I've been to castings where a casting director said to me, Mr. Mark, how many followers do you have on Instagram? And I'm like, I've just read my life out of your script and I'm pretty sure I did okay, but because Phil has 5,000 more followers than me on the gram, I'm not gonna have it. And you've just disproved that doesn't mean it's gonna equal to ARs.
So let me explain why that might be the case, that sometimes you get to auditions and you get asked for your followers. Okay, we have a situation right now with channels not being able to commission shows and put money into shows.
Okay,
so you're getting a lot of licensed shows, and a lot of them are AFPs, that's advertiser funded programs. So now an advertiser funded program is a program that the money that's going to be used to shoot that and the production comes from a sponsor. Now these sponsors have their own goals in terms of their brand, so they are saying, okay, fine, I want Leroy to present my show because Leroy has 1 million followers. Okay, it's got nothing to do with what you're going to be doing on the show. They don't care about that, because that's between the channel and the media source and whatever. They just care about what their brand and their association with you would be. So you getting to an audition and having them ask you about your followers might not necessarily have to do with your presenting skills or acting skills, might just be about the brand that's putting money into this. Would they be able to leverage something from your social media presence?
So it's almost like a meeting of two different segments of entertainment. You've got the advertisers who want as much viewability, as many eyes on it, and on the other hand, ARs are the issue of channel and production, and not really. They don't marry. Twitter was a buzz this past week because apparently one Minnie Dlamini doesn't know much about sport yet. She's on homegrown. Someone was saying that she'll ask you, what's the vibe? The vibe at the stadium when you want to get like an in-depth soccer analysis, and then you look at a show like Homeground with her and Lungster, and you're like, okay, interesting, but I would have thought that by now that Minnie would have made a career for herself, because she was on the other sports show,
NetBank, whatever
it was, as a female presenter. And then you look at people who actually do sport like Carol and the like, and they don't seem to have the same traction in the sporting field. What went wrong there?
Many factors. It could just be the celebrity thing, but the other thing is this. I mean, sometimes it's easier to work with somebody like a Mini and a Bonang and a Boiti than it is to get somebody who's not experienced and have to train them and have to go through the whole process of so sometimes it's an issue of money. I think once we get to a point in South Africa where our entertainment industry will be able to sustain itself financially without having to rely to so many extra, injections and whatever, then we'll be able to see talent flourish. Because right now, I'm telling you, it's cheaper to work with somebody who's got experience, somebody who already has a manager, whatever, than to try and get Thabo from Ekasi, and because Thabo probably doesn't have a car, so you're gonna have to provide transport for Thabo.
Yeah, damn Thabo.
You know how it is. Like, he doesn't have medical aid. Something happened on the set,
and now the whole production is delayed. Thabo.
You know, so that could be a factor as well. But the other thing just could be, I mean, like, people build relationships in the business.
I'll put myself on a limb out here at the risk of being blocked. But I mean, what on earth is Bonang doing on KFC Taste Kitchen? First and foremost, she has no color. We don't know her as a culinary whiz. So maybe she cooks at her house, whatever. But I just could not see the nexus between her and you've got Lucia, who is a chef, who hosted the show. And yet we sit there and you wonder why, you know, people are sitting there going, I can't relate, because even the demographic to which that Bonang, we'd say, appeals to wouldn't be. First and foremost, since you ask why the hell KFC has a Taste Kitchen, because they make deep fried chicken. But I mean, it's a different story altogether. But why, you know what I mean? But on the other hand, then you have her come in, and I understand it's, you know, she's worked hard. I understand she's easy to work with. She's worked with big brands before. But I sit there on a weekly basis, and I'm still baffled at the fact that
they didn't know how to do it. She was not going to be on an ad eating chicken. So the best way,
put out a half an hour show.
Yes, exactly. Chicken. You know, because there's no other way to explain that. KFC just wanted to be associated with Bonang. They had money to put on a show. They could not put her in a TV ad. So that's what the best thing that they came.
Is any press good press? So let's look at Bonang, for instance. I mean, she's had quite a traumatic couple of months. And then in the same vein, you look at someone like Kanye Mbao, who's made a career of bad press. And on, you know, the third hand, you got, the other hand, you have someone like Usomizi, who has come off from bad press, has made great press, but is very, very open to sharing some of the most delicate parts of his life. And some people say that he's for the better for it. Is all press good press?
It depends on where you are in your career. Like, for instance, I mean, like what that Bontle girl did with the Pretty Ugly, was his name?
Pretty Ugly,
that wedding thing that they did. I mean, like, she's only starting out, and she's already creating an environment where there's distrust between her and her fans and the industry. You understand? So that is bad press.
Okay.
Because you're only starting out. But like, if you are a Bonang Bonang has been through a lot, and for some reason she's been able to kind of overcome that.
Can I be rude? Can I be juicy? Let's talk. Because, so, you know, Kim Kardashian was in Paris for, I think, Paris Fashion Week, and she had a little robbery happen in the hotel room, and she lost, you know, thousands and thousands of Lorraine Schultz jewelry. And people say, no, you know, Kris Jenner and the Kardashian clan stage these things. How many times? Because I saw just from the follow that came after, you know, when some of the issues of Bonang's book came out. I mean, you know, I don't think the typos were tragic. They were not fatal. I mean, you know, you don't want to come out of place when you're writing a book. But hers, not that bad. I mean, and I read Sumizi's book, for instance, on the plane, and I found the book to be quite thin, literally thin. But also that the story was a little jumpy, but still. Whatever. I mean, Twilight had typos. But Twitter was just like, that girl, she's gone too far. She's gone too far. And then when Exclusive Books pulled the book this week, people were like, she won't even apologize? Which is like, okay, why should she apologize, but why shouldn't she apologize?
What you're missing is people are not upset because there were typos in the book per se. They are upset because Bonang has presented herself with this image of perfection, and I've got a team, you know.
Careful, you're going to get blocked. Careful.
10 people in it. You know, with all these people in her team, why didn't anybody read the book and say, you know what, this is not going to look good or whatever? Do you understand? So, and then people are upset by the fact that she is so far removed, I mean, from the realities that we live every day, that she can't even bring herself down to say, I am sorry. So people are upset about that. Not necessarily about, they would have gotten over the book, you know, at the time and stuff like that. It's just that Bonang, this thing you could say, like, and even the reality show is not helping, because now she's on a reality show where she wakes up and wants to drink champagne in the morning.
Let's talk about then, you know, celebrities going into reality shows, and we all know that reality is scripted, right? Because, I mean, Living the Dream by Subizi was
every show on television is scripted.
There's a running order. There's a call time for your life.
There's a director.
So, okay, Leroy, you'll now wake up. Okay, you'll now wake up from yesterday. Okay, you look a little tired. Let's do it again. Okay, the lighting wasn't right. We'll do it all over again until we get it right. But this thing about celebrities and going into these reality shows, right? I don't know, man. I feel like if you don't have enough to show and you're not willing to break down the walls to let us in all the way in, like I believe Sumizi did, then why even bother?
If you're not willing to really go in and break those walls, then don't do it. Don't do it, because I mean, for me, it's like Beyonce doing that. Life is but a dream.
Don't talk about that, because that was a tragedy here. A tragedy. I have a very good friend, Andile, which again, you know, she and I think that's where Bonang might be in her career, that she still needs to put up the walls because her brand has been negotiated around this perfection.
But here's the thing, though. I get that 2 years ago.
Okay.
But the South African fan, the South African audience has evolved. Where we are right now, it's not about the glamour. It's not about, people want to relate to you. I mean, you look at the biggest names in terms of television right now are people that are relatable.
Yeah.
Your Papa Penny or that polygamy guy, Musa, whatever his name, stuff like that. And that goes to show you, like, even actors, you look at the actors that are now being loved, they're not from the soapies.
No.
Your Vati Swandaga, you know,
rude people. Yeah.
It's about the weave girl and oh my god, my life is fabulous phase. It's gone.
I had to eat humble pie recently because I did forecast that in 3 years' time the It Girl will be obsolete. We still have people who we're not sure what they do for a living who are still on our TV screens. What is it about celebritydom that makes these people push so hard to be in this space? What could surely there's easy ways of making money with less emotional trauma for you than to have to get bashed every other week on Twitter or Facebook?
Look, people get bashed. Teachers get bashed. It's just that they're not in a public platform. But you know, the things that we used to say about our teachers. Do you know what I mean? Your doctor. I mean, how many times have you been at your doctors and you think, these people?
Or my bank in particular.
So I think every career has that. Every career has its own politics or whatever. Just that what we do is under a microscope. You know, and everybody else has their own little opinions. And we get to hear those opinions. But generally, I don't think there's anything different from what celebrities do than what any other person does.
Okay, when we come back, I want to chat to you about opening up the industry because apparently, you know, we've got the same faces going up and down and people are getting quite tired of that. Can you really be on one show, producing one show, presenting one show, another? And I also want to find out from you about politicians or people who hold particular offices in the country who also seem to be little twelebs and what is falebs and the like, notably like our Minister of Police who apparently has a sterling shoe collection. He's an A-lister himself because he hangs out with some of the big names, man. I mean, Kim Kardashian, Kevin Spacey, Idris Elba, Trey Songz, Chris Brown, Brandy, even that lovely, smart, intellectual young lady, Kim Kardashian. That is our hashtag Mad Talk guest that was not shade in any way. We love Kim, all of her, and that man of hers, what's his name, Kanye. Yes, it is hashtag Mad Talk Saturdays, going all the way to 10 past 7 p.m. Central African time. Remember, 8 p.m. is when Adoration begins, with Slim G all the way to 11 p.m. Central African time. Hang 10 with him. Plus 27 79 25 44329 is where he is at on WhatsApp, and of course at TransAfrica 872. Remember, if it doesn't say 872, it's not the original TransAfrican McCoy. So, Phil, I've got the admin out the way. Let's talk about your ministers.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this week we had a lot to talk about as far as, the votes of no confidence against your president, who seems to have more lives than a cat. He is on his 9th life right now. On his 9th life, so we'll see if he'll make it through. The DA decides to bring in a new motion of no confidence. We also know that Mphela Mbalula has been taking about a lot of fire, it being Women's Month in South Africa, and his compatriot and member of the cabinet, Manana, being hold of the coals for what essentially seems to be, and we must say it right, allegedly, even though we've seen the video, allegedly gender-based violence incidents that happened at Cubana. It just seems that, the office of public office and celebritydom seem to be blurred by social media, right? Yeah. Because you have they used to joke and call our now finance minister the Twitter minister, and the minister of selfie. I did not say that myself.
But it's not Beyonce.
Yeah. Wasn't he trying to bring? Okay, let's leave that.
Yeah, well, let's just leave that.
Because I do not have a big enough security contingent to take me home after this. But is there a disjoinder? I mean, seemingly, people get into various offices, not only just in politics, not only in the media, but people want to find their way into this industry. I know a particular person who seems to be a jack of all trades. Like, he does everything. He is, got a profession as something else. He now wants to be a photographer, but he's an influencer for this. He's a butcher, he's a baker, he's a candlestick maker. What is it? What's going on about this lure about celebrity?
I mean, like, for instance, I could never ever work in an office.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't work. The thought of me waking up at 8 o'clock in the morning and being in the same room till about 5, that's not gonna work.
I honestly believe if God wanted us to wake up that early, we'd put an alarm clock inside us.
Exactly. So not everybody who comes into the business wants to be a celebrity, but here's the thing. Think of yourself as a child when you were like 4 or 5, okay? when you were getting attention, what was happening?
Yeah.
You know, it made you feel good. You know, it made you feel like, you know, I'm meta, I'm worth something, even if you probably didn't.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to be very diplomatic here because I got friends in this business.
Yeah, well, I can tell you you've lost one already because one of our followers on Twitter, Okakiso, says to us that we're being very spicy, and you're right. He doesn't see the correlation between Queen Bee and KFC Spice Kitchen.
Yeah.
Look, I was just saying that, you know, the only time I've seen Bonang in a kitchen is when she was helping Somizi to shop.
Yeah.
That's where I see it.
But in terms of doing a lot of things in the industry, right? Here's the thing. Because in South Africa, you're not making the same money that somebody in the UK or in the US is making. I mean, I always say to people that, you know, if I was living in the UK or in the US, I would be balling right now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because I've got friends who are YouTubers and bloggers and stuff like that who travel the world, and they be like, dude, come and join us in what I'm like, I don't make as much as you guys.
So the climate in South Africa is a little different to the rest of the world.
If I get any other opportunity to kind of like finance my life, I will take it. Any opportunity to make money, I will take it. And that's why you see people doing different projects. You find somebody as a presenter, as an actor, whatever, because if they're not doing 3 or 4 jobs, they're not going to be able to pay their rent, they're not going to be able to pay their bills. And the other thing that people need to be aware of is that just because you're seeing somebody on a show this month and in 2 weeks you see them on another show, doesn't mean that they show those shows at the same time. You might find that person, the other show that you're seeing, they shot that show last year, and you're only seeing it now, which means that between then and the other show, they probably were not working. So the scheduling is different. So sometimes when you keep on seeing the same people on TV all the time, or you just switch channels and you see the same person, you need to be cognizant of the fact that those things are not shot at the same time, and people need to pay their bills.
Is there something like saturation paralysis, where you've got so much of one particular person or particular brand of person that you get so saturated? Because I mean, look at I mean, listen, that man's diary in December was looking like, you know, a roster call for like the NFL. He was at an event in some part of the country every other day, sometimes 2 events a day.
Look, Somizi, like I mean, I actually even had a conversation with him about this. You know, I don't think Somizi should have done the entertainment. I think that's so one job he should have just let it go.
So I mean, Somizi, according to his book, and we know that you can't trust all books, right, about people's ages, but according to his book, he's 45.
Yes.
What business does he have on the entertainment? I understand he's part of popular culture. I understand he's in the know, but to be quite honest, a man was born, you know, in 1972, 73, on a show that is primarily between, you know, sort of 18, 16 to 35. I just don't see the correlation. Again, for me, it's the same as a Taste Kitchen Bonang thing.
You know, not necessarily about the talent, stuff like that. But however, we've talked about the branding stuff, whatever. I just want to talk about the talent right now and say Ugutsi. I think it's Wendy Williams or somebody like that who always says Ugutsi.
The iconic.
Not every money is good money. Like not all money is good money. So Miz is already working. He's already a working talent in South Africa right now. He's a hot commodity. He does not need to take these other jobs. Seeing him on the entertainment reminds me of when I first saw Uboiti on that car show, Changing Down or whatever. And I was like, girl, what are you doing? You know nothing about cars. Yes, I understand that you need a paycheck, but there are certain jobs that you just need to say, you know what? Thank you for the opportunity, but can I just be a line producer?
But don't you find that because of the nature of the industry, that people want to seem busy, people want to feel like they're in many pies? You know, the Bonang syndrome, the Beyonce syndrome of having multiple careers and you're doing well in all of them. They want a bit of that, and also don't see how much their detriment they get it wrong. I put it down to bad management, because, you know, your manager, your agent will send you everything. You to be on this beer ad and on this porno and whatever that is, but your management, which, you know, essentially like management in any company, will say that's good for us, this isn't good for us. Why aren't we?
Because I mean, you need to understand something. We don't know the dynamics of the relationships that these people have with their manager, because there are certain people that have good managers, but they're not easy to be managed. You know, so we can't really put everything on the managers and all that. But I think you nailed it when you said that is this thing of trying to put on this I slay all the time image out there, and unfortunately it's hurting them right now.
So why in your opinion should Somizi not have taken on the call?
Because he's too old for V Entertainment.
Okay, that's
number 2, V Entertainment is a scripted show. Somizi doesn't do well with scripts. And number 3,
say it, Phil. Free your shit. Say it.
The entertainment for me is like your entertainment tonight, whatever. It requires that
a certain amount of elegance.
Yeah, and you know, somebody who can speak English but not just be able to articulate words but be able to play with words as well.
Okay.
One of the things that I loved about the entertainment was their voiceovers. I don't know why they can though.
Yeah.
Because that was exciting entertainment. The phrases that they were using.
So well, I mean, they also made a really catastrophic, choice in my mind when they hired that Shane Eagle person, and I mean, for no reason but that he seemed like he'd rather be anywhere else but in that studio. Yeah. He looked like he was as bored as anything. He looked like he'd rather be.
Hey, he was a pretty boy.
I mean, yeah, and that's another thing when you talk about, how much of it can rest solely on your looks, and how much of it rests on lightning striking at the right time. Because you look at the VJ search for MTV, look at the Mzansi Insider search, the E Africa search. A plethora of people came through, and there were some talents I saw on Twitter and social media that were okay, but would never make it because they don't sit next to seats of power.
3-4 years ago, and we're talking about looks, I would be saying absolutely. I mean, I'm talking about the time of the Lunga Shabalalas and whatever. And I think what happened with that group of Abolunga and whatever is that it proved the point. I would say sometimes people they might love how you look, they might put your pictures up on their Instagram and stuff like that, but in terms of them investing in you as a brand, that's not gonna happen. And that changed in a way, but what is bothering me right now is Mzansi Magic had an opportunity to change all of that. They were developing their own talent. I mean, they developed Utembisa on their channel. They've got people that we didn't know of, that we only know of now because they are on Mzansi Magic. And then what do? They decide to have an award show, and the first person that they hire is somebody from SABC.
Can we talk about the award show? Because that award show also got me a little confused, because one of the nominees on that show, who I will not name, but they're on a show on Mzansi.
I don't know who you're talking about, but if you're talking about Zamani, Nomzama's brother, Zamani has only been on Isitembiso, and he's now nominated for a Rising Star.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing.
Talk to me.
How can you be a rising star when you've only done one show where you're not even a lead?
But you see, the issue here is not about the actor in my mind, because an award is an award. I mean, who doesn't want a Grammy, right? But what is happening in the power is because if you're sitting down and you're picking him up, and also there's a couple of things we need to look at. A rising star. Okay, let's look at the girl who played Uboni on the one show, Tulo. I think, her, Tuto or Tuso, whatever. But I mean, she's really she's been on multiple productions.
I'll give you somebody. There's a guy called, and he's actually on the same stuff like that. This boy has a body of work, okay? Though he's not known in South Africa. If you're going to talk about a rising star, why not give somebody like that a platform and say, look at this guy, and these are the things that he has done.
But is this not the same issue about having presenters on shows who are clearly not a good fit for them, but because they've got the numbers and they've got the following, that you go for them? Because as much as I love Uvatiswa Ndacha, I'm like, okay, you're good, you're really good, but I think it's a one horse race because she's playing a popular character. Because if you find a gay man to play, if you find Somizi to play Somizi, he'll do good. Yes. Find a Zulu man to play a Zulu man, he'll do okay. Give me more, because I think what we're doing now in this country is that we're advocating for mediocrity, and we're getting confused, and people come up there and go, but why didn't he get it? Because Uzamani, as great as he is on the show, and his sister, apart from him, because I don't think necessarily he got the show, I mean, people make their speculations on that.
Talented or not talented, whatever, I just think that he has not paid his dues to be a rising star, to be nominated for a rising star. For me, what's happening with him is the same thing that happened with Babes Wodumo, where Babes only had one song, Wololo, that was a hit. She had an album that bombed. But then all of a sudden she was expecting all these accolades simply because we elevated her before she could actually do anything, and that's the problem.
But aren't these big award shows then like the DM, whatever they're called, running away from having the same issue that the Hollywood foreign press gets accused of all the time? They sort of the body of work that they watch on their own in wherever they are, with the criterion that no one actually really knows, and then everyone's going, but have you seen Vin Diesel's Fast and the Furious 13? What are we on now? Whatever. And everyone's like, that is the movie, and they don't get the accolades. Because I agree. I mean, Babes, she had a good song or two or three, but honestly, I would not have given her half a Dugu award at this point.
Because, and here's my thing, what I love about where we are as an entertainment industry and the fact that we're still small is that we can write our own script. Do you know what I mean? We don't necessarily have to emulate Hollywood or anything. We can write our own script, and we're missing opportunities to do that. We should right now, I mean, Mzansi Magic, they've got their own awards now. What they should have done was stay away from all the politics of the SAFTAs and whatever, and create a platform that is credible. And when you start making silly mistakes like this, then they've already lost credibility before they even had their first award show. What's going to happen from now on? Nobody's going to think of them as like, the new... They're going to be like the Dugudugus. 3 years from now, they're probably going to be gone.
Well, I mean, the Dugudugus were quite interesting to watch because I still wanted to know what they were going for. Like, where do they fall? Were they music? Is it entertainment? Is it, personality driven? Because you have the Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards, for instance. It come through and it is literally the kids' choice. Who's more popular? Who's more fun? Who has good music? And based on children. Because, in August alone, which is all of 12 days old, there have been 3 women's awards. Now, I understand women, need to be recognized for what they do, but sometimes you sort of lose credibility by oversaturation.
We need to start creating an environment where we've got A-list. We can't just have David Tlale be the only A-list, fashion designer in South Africa. We need to start having that thing of having designers dress celebrities and build brands off of that. And I think the only platform we can have that is through award shows and events of that nature, because the magazine industry in South Africa is not paying.
Let's talk about the magazines and the newspapers. Numbers have dwindled for most of those big publications as well. I mean, you reported also the fact that, the City Press, the Sunday Times, and many others have gone down. But I actually get the paper delivered. And I find the Sunday Times, for instance, to be a very thick... a thing of stuff with lots of things in it, and there's the number of inlets in the Sunday Times has trebled over the last year, whereas you get something as good as the Sunday World that gives you all the juice in 5 minutes. Okay, you roll the eyes.
I think one of the biggest mistakes that the print media in South Africa is making is using the model that works for digital media for print. I saw that Times Media Group right now, what they're doing is they will have the same article run in different publications that fall under that company. And that for me is a problem, because if you're living in a country like the US where there's like 350 million people, syndication works. And you can have one article and have it run on 30 publications. But in South Africa, believe you me, if I'm in a household and I read an article in Sowetan, why the hell would I go and buy City Press or buy something?
And the view is not very different in another newspaper.
That's a thing. Do you know what I mean? So I think that has affected the numbers. It's not just the digital, because people are saying now, no, people are not reading newspapers anymore. They are reading stories online. I don't believe in that. I still think that majority of South Africans are still using traditional media, because majority of South Africa, I mean, like we talked about this earlier, Twitter only has 7 million accounts. Of that 7 million, only 60% is active. Of that 60%, every niche market pulls from that 60%. So by the time you're looking at a black 15 to 25, you're left with about maybe 4% of that 7 million. Do you know what I mean? So I don't really believe that people are not reading papers anymore. They're watching stories online or whatever. I just think that the way that we are doing things in terms of our print media is flawed, and I understand why it's happening, because advertisers move to digital and media companies don't want to pay a lot of stuff. So now they're just using the model that they're using for digital on print.
Lucian is accusing you and I of shade against the entertainment. We don't actually. Neither of us work with entertainment, and we both work in television. So we have.
You laugh so easy.
We do. But I think also it's.
I mean, I complained today. I mean, if you saw my tweets about. There were certain producers who were saying that the numbers from BRC are flawed, the system is not really accurate and stuff like that. And I came back and said, okay, fine. Do you realize, BRC, the Broadcast Research Council, gets the numbers from the channels, and they do them independently as well. However, the channel has its own numbers, and those numbers, they don't match with other channels. It's just for that channel. However, if you pick up your phone right now and called Vuzu and said, Vuzu, can I see your ratings?
They'll say
no.
Okay.
That's private information. Understand? So now, how do you hide information, and when somebody's offering that information to people for free, you complain?
You have an issue with it.
You understand? It's the same thing with our film industry. Black producers and black production companies will not tell you what their budget is for a film. Okay? However, they will want you to celebrate that they made 10 million at the box office. How do I celebrate that you made 10 million when I don't know what your budget is?
Because you could have spent 1.9 million.
You understand? But whenever I pick up a phone and I call an Afrikaans film or an English medium film, whatever, and I ask them, how much did you make for this film? They will tell me, okay, we made 6 million from the box office and we make this from group, whatever. And then I'm able to sit back and say, okay, fine, you guys are doing well or you're not doing well, and I put it out there. Nobody's gonna block me, nobody's gonna send me a tweet saying you are a hater, whatever. With us black people in this country, we need to get out of this thing of thinking that everybody is against us when they are just having an honest conversation. I can't be your fan and just praise you. A true friend is somebody who's willing to look at your work and say, you know what, I love you, but here you dropped the ball. So we love Somis.
Very much, very much. I think he's an amazing talent as well. I love what he's done with his career right now. But talk to me about what are some of the stories that you and Zupi are dealing with that are giving
Dude, why are you still on Zupi? I quit Zupi
Yeah, but you'll always be the Zupi guy to me because that's what you did. That's where I started going into what do you call it? Celebrity news, because that's where it was most.
This is Trans Africa Radio.